Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Our group will present on a case study entitled A Lean Six Sigma Quality Improvement Project to Increase Discharge Paperwork Completeness for Admission to a Comprehensive Integrated Inpatient Rehabilitation Program. Transition from hospital admission to a rehabilitation settings are particularly important because optimal medical management is necessary to maximize rehabilitation effort or post-acute care such as comprehensive integrated inpatient rehabilitation programs, CII-RPS, skilled nursing facilities, extended care facilities and others. During these transitions, a handoff should occur during which the care responsibilities of the patient transition from one healthcare professional to another. The lack of communication and documentation errors have been associated with many adverse events. Standardization has proven difficult because transition points vary between inter-unit handoff, inter-service handoff, and hospital to primary care physician handoff. The problem that usually arise is the lack of important information in the documentation necessary for appropriate handoff during transition. Optimizing communication through the discharge paperwork can benefit all parties and help ensure an optimal outcome for the patient while possibly decreasing unnecessary use of resources. Inconsistent, inaccurate, or incomplete information can negatively affect patient safety, treatment, and care management, potentially result in patient harm or increase inpatient days and costs. The solution for this problem is by using the application of Lean Six Sigma, or also known as LSS methodology. LSS is a process-centered approach to quality improvement that seeks to systematically define, measure, analyze, improve, and control processes. It is also to reduce waste and increase patient satisfaction. In this case study, the goal is to use LSS methodology to increase the number of patients with complete admissions paperwork. First, identify the essential information elements that must be included in all discharge paperwork to CII-RPS. Secondly, implement an automated system to incorporate these elements into all discharge paperwork. And finally, assess the impact of intervention by measuring the completeness of discharge paperwork before and after intervention.
For the first step of implementation of Lean Six Sigma, which is first is define. We define the system, the voice of the customer and their requirements and the project. A subjective failure mode and the effects of analysis were used to prioritize which characteristic, which is the elements and variables, should be required for all discharge paperwork for a patient transitioning to comprehensive integrated inpatient rehabilitation program CIIRP.
After deciding the discharge elements, 42 charts are being reviewed to analyze the discharge paperwork used for transitions of care at baseline. In order to make the review consistent, questionnaires are used in order to measure the improvement. In the questionnaire, patient's clinical condition is one of the elements being considered. The data gained from the baseline chart review process is charted as control or benchmarking to monitor the changes in chart completeness.
Assalamualaikum. I will proceed with analyze. The goal for the phase was to determine the potential causes of system breakdown, root cause analysis and Ishikawa cause and effect diagram, or we call fishbone diagram, were used to determine possible causes for incompleteness of documentation. The fishbone diagram used to address the area where breakdown can occur, such as people, policy, process, and equipment, resulting in the deficiency. Computer-generated patient discount sheet CGDP is created for its discharge in addition to PGDP. The CGDP were used only to help educate patients at discharge but was not used as discharge document. Pareto charts and Fisher's exact test statistic analysis were used to compare the completeness of discharge element generated by the PGDP and CGDP. At this stage, the analysis showed that the CGDP was better at including 3 discharge elements, which are activity precautions, dietary restriction, and follow-up appointment.
Step it is the improve. We improve or optimize the current process based upon data analysis. For example, in the article, the author used first policy change requiring the computer generated patient discharge worksheet CGDP to accompany patient at the time of admission. And second, the authors worked with the institution's information technology department to develop the appropriate logic for each of the discharge element. The last step is control. We determine that the performance objective identified in the previous phase is well implemented and that the design improvements are sustainable, which is by 3 steps. First, validate the measurement system to be used. Second, establish process capability. And third, once the previous step is satisfied, implement the process.
So as for the results of the Lean Sigma 6 implementation, as you can see, pre-intervention, 88.1% of the charts analyzed were missing at least one element. And like from the elements, there was basically 61.8% that was complete per chart. But then after the implementation of the LSS system, whatever, 143 charts were analyzed, and from the required discharge elements, 94.2% per chart were complete. So basically, the proportion of complete discharge elements per chart was significantly higher post-intervention. And the number of 100% complete charts was also significantly higher in the post-intervention phase. So, to conclude, the LSS is generally designed to assist in streamlining flow and quality of product for the benefit of the customers, of course. And as we can see, there was definitely improved communication between discharging and admitting facilities, which is essential for patient care and safety, which basically means that this system is actually pretty efficient. And yeah, and that's it. Thank you. Bye.